Hey, everybody. I know that probably end of Friday, so most of y'all may be sort of already in chill mode and stuff, but would love to have your videos on. Even if you're just at home and there's a family, gang at the back, that's fine. Keep yourself on mute, it's fine. But do put your videos on, please. Yeah. It just makes, I don't want to do a deck presentation. I want to try and keep this interactive. So that would be great. Ronnie, I can see your background, but I can't see you. Ah, there you are. Okay, cool. Rest, Santosh, Karthik. Guys, come on, let's put the videos on. You can put a blur background if nothing else. I don't mind waiting another minute to do this because it's just more interactive. Okay, so why don't we? Hi, there. We have one more person. Oh, great. One by one, everybody's coming on. I think we're getting encouragement with the other people slowly coming on. So, yeah, superb. Go for it. Go for it. Someone came on and then vanished. Sarika, Nandini, Santosh, I think you guys are left.
Yeah,
Katikiran, I think, came on and then.
just give me a moment.
Yeah, take it. Cool. So let's do this. I will call out your name and just give me like a quick, literally, I'll time you 30-second intro, like a elevator pitch of who you are, where you're from, and what is it that you're trying to get out of this next, let's say, 45 minutes to 50 minutes. Yeah. I'm just going to go in whatever order I see. Navarun.
Hi, my name is Navarun. Good evening, everybody. I am a program manager in Monster. I'm ex PhonePe and ex Make My Trip. I've joined Pragmatic Leaders, and I'm having a really good experience here. The reason why I'm here because I want to transition into a product manager role, and I'm trying to soak in as much as I can. So I'm attending all the lectures, all the guest sessions, everything. So that's my sole motive right here.
Oh, very cool. I like the learning angle to what you're saying. Fantastic. Pradyot.
Hi everyone, this is Pradyot, and I am currently working with BCG as a senior workflow coordinator, managing the research team for them. And Pragmatic, I have joined for the same reason like most of us to transition to a product role. Uh, I will talk about today's session. I am especially joining this because this is something around customer behavior, which was like I'm not very sure what is this all about. To understand what is this and learn from Amar as much as possible. So
Cool.
that's
Fantastic. Karthik.
Yeah, hi. I've been as a delivery manager for one of the banks in Bangalore. Transitioning into product owner role for past 6 months. Most of the inbound side.
Yeah. I will keep hearing out. So continue.
Right on the inbound one. So join Pragmatic to look into the real product owner. What are they doing? Right.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm here as well.
Sweet. Okay. Santoshi.
So, hi Amar. I'm working as a HR journalist, also working as financial admin for a software company. So I'm totally new to the technical background. I don't have any technical background. So, anyways, in the future, I want to start up a company, and then I enrolled myself for the certificate program here.
Okay, cool. Abhishek Kumar, in case there's another Abhishek.
Okay. Hey, hi. Hello, everyone. I'm Abhishek. So currently, I'm working as a general manager, business development in Mahindra CI Automotive. I've been part of the cohort 2 EPDM course, and I've got a short stint working as a senior product manager. But again, that was a very short stint. Things did not pan out well, but again, I'm here to learn a few more skills, arm myself better, and explore opportunities what we have on the table.
So. Fantastic. Sarika? And what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to do a couple more right now, and then I'm going to keep everybody else for sort of right at the end, where I want to kind of hear what is it you got out of the session as well. and if I was able to kind of this thing. And guys, at any point while we're talking, if you want to raise your hand, ask a question, just do that, right? I want to keep this interactive for y'all, and engaging in a way that I'm not doing presentations and stuff. But yeah. Sarika, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I am here to note down the expectations of all the students. Being from the student success team, I am
Oh, you're
really
part of
loving
Pragmatic. Okay, got it.
some.
Okay.
If you forgot, we have been in touch
No,
for
now,
this
now,
session.
now that you say it, I remember. Hi, Sarika. Hi.
Hi.
So
No,
yeah,
I
so
also
we
actually
talked
thought that
about
we need to give our introductions again.
My
Yeah.
apologies. Uh,
No worries,
cool,
and
cool.
yeah, it's a good start. Thanks, Amar. So yeah,
Okay,
we are happy to note down the expectations from all the students, and this is
fantastic.
quite
Great, great.
helpful.
Great.
So yeah,
So now that more
go
people
ahead,
are
please.
joining, I thought that we're going to have time to kind of have a quick intro with everybody, but I don't want to use up the time with only intros. So guys, don't mind, but I'm going to kind of move forward now. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that more people are kind of joining in, right? And of course, you have my LinkedIn. I am there on Slack, and if there's any help that you need from me at any point, just drop me a Slack message or on LinkedIn or something. And of course, Rakhi and the team are there. So, through them as well, if you want to reach out to me for anything, please do. Happy to help, right? Okay, so I'm going to pick up a couple of trends from whatever has been shared so far. And for the people who've just joined, like Atul, Meenal, Mridul, Sudhindra, guys, could you put your videos on, please? I'm going to keep repeating, but what I'd appreciate is any one of you kind of take charge, and any new joiners coming in, just drop messages to them or drop it on the chat saying, guys, video on, guys, video on. Please go ahead and just do that, right? Okay. So for the people who've just joined, we were doing a few intros, and I've changed track now instead of doing everybody's intro. So that is one of the things which you will learn to do a lot as a PM, right? Compared to a lot of the other roles that we do in the, from our different pasts, where if we've taken on a particular task or a project, right, more often than not, we kind of see it through. So I've worked in functions everywhere from legal to finance to operations, international investment handling, logistics. I've worked across industries, yeah, and functions. Now, with the PM, what was probably hardest for me was this one thing, and I'm starting a little bit ahead instead of where I came in from. But essentially, to be able to ruthlessly make changes in track depending on what situation comes up. So agility is a key skill, right? Now, how does this apply to the main topic that we're sort of here for today, right? Which is essentially transitioning into product management, right? So the sense that I get, I think, with probably most of you all, and I think it's very exciting to see people from different backgrounds, different age groups as well. Uh, Hi, Rams. Great to see you engaging in this, discussion here. Uh, and that's kind of another lesson that I've learned. If you're choosing to step into product management from a different background, be okay with two things. There are a lot. And as you do the course with Pragmatic Leaders, or you do your own, learning, etc., you will come across these as maybe two possible walls that you need to go through or climb over, right? One is the ability to unlearn and learn and freshly learn. I won't say relearn, but unlearn and learn again, right? With a fresh mindset. Because if you come in from a different background, very often we come in with certain preconceived notions of that particular function or industry, right? So this unlearning is a very, very important, I would say, a soft skill that we should all imbibe, right? I've learned it the hard way. You can learn it the easy way or the hard way, that's up to you. The second thing that I would mention is And it was very hard for me to understand this. It was actually with the Pragmatic Leaders team and with Talvinder that I really, really started to understand the extent of the mindset that you don't have to be an engineer to be a PM, right? In a lot of countries, and I have colleagues and mentors and juniors who are now in the US, in Europe, uh, the fact that you may come from a different background is actually of value to a lot of companies out there, right? So fundamentally, it comes down to how do you understand what your key skills are, your key strengths are, and where is it that you're applying? So Talvinder has created this pretty cool, exercise and module around this called the perfect fit. If you do the course and you work with the PL team, etc. Uh, and even before he created this, and before I did my course with PL, uh, this was a big block in front of me, right? Because wherever I would go in India, even though for the last 10 to 12 years, and I'm not going to get into the nitty gritties of my experience. You're happy to ask me questions on that if you feel, but my LinkedIn is, available on the Slack channel. So you guys can look in that in detail. Uh, Even though I've had product experience in the past, because it was never with a deep engineering or technical background, for a lot of companies, that was a question mark that was put in front of me, right? That your technical skills would not be as good. So what I would always try and do, and I learned this over my 6 months with PL as well, is I would try to probably upskill myself in those areas while not maybe focusing on my strengths. The point is that you need to focus on what your strengths are. So for me, I have a psychology undergrad. I did my master's in marketing consumer behavior. And I have always thought about what product to build or to customize if I'm using a third-party SaaS product out there. And how do I build it to solve the pain points for the user? User could be external consumer, it could be an internal team, right? So whether it be a CRM platform that I'm building from scratch at Grofers, whether it be a Salesforce that I'm implementing across a multinational organization for the India chapter, irrelevant, right? And I kind of lost track of that because in a lot of discussions and interviews in India, what I would come across was, you don't have an engineering degree, so then what? How will you handle the engineers, right? So what I understood over my time in the last 6 months, because I had reached a point where I was genuinely asking myself that, should I continue down product where I'm being questioned so much? And my confidence is quite getting impacted because I'm needing to justify myself all the time, and maybe I'm not getting through the interviews, etc. Or should I do maybe program management, because I have that as an innate skill set, and that's what a lot of people were looking to me as a project manager slash product manager slash program manager who has a background? Or should I head down customer experience because I have very deep expertise in that area as well, right? Uh, what I arrived at with a lot of sort of thinking and soul searching and going through the program with PL, but also, a lot of this has to be self-motivated, right? Was that we need to see where a fitment comes, right? Between you and where you're applying and the kind of organization that you're working with. So I'll give you an example. When I was applying to OYO and I went through the interviews, for example, I got asked a lot of questions on product strategy, product design, user behavior, etc., and very minimal stuff on the engineering side. Why was that? When I joined, I asked them and I got a sense of what's going on. They said that because your expertise is not on the engineering side. You are a behavioral PM. Okay. So there is a wide variety of types of PMs that exist out there. The tough part is to find the organizations where you would fit, right? And that should be the base of your research, your base of how you want to maybe apply to organizations. A lot of this. I'll give you another example. Like a lot of us, I'm sure there are a lot of people here as well. The dream is to maybe work with FANG, right? FANG has now changed into MMA or something like that. Mama, I think, is the new short, an annotation there. But when I would speak to friends and family at Google, for example, and I went through people who are PMs at Google, abroad, it's a very different mindset. Yeah. As I understood and I did my research, that they're looking for maybe people like me. But in India, they're pretty clear that they want someone with an engineering degree. So then I need to better understand why am I applying or where am I applying and what is it that I want to get out of it, right? Now, what is it that I want to get out of it is many things. It may be, you may say that I want to, because I've been in, I think it was Santoshi, if I'm not wrong, who mentioned that you are an HR generalist as well, right? You have an HR background.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you may say that, what, automatically for me, because I'm from that background, I understand the HR SaaS products out there like the back of my hand, right? So that's a domain that I know that if I apply to, it should be much easier to get through, right? It may be that someone, Navarun, you were saying you're a program manager, right? Sorry, what's the domain or industry?
So I'm in Monster India. We are an internet company which focuses on recruitment.
Yeah. So as you transform into a PM within Monster itself, it might be possible, right? Because if say you've been with them for a while, you have IJPs, which is your internal job postings, and you say that, hey, I've been doing this, I want to move into this, right? Like at OYO, I see people who've come into the product team from all kinds of departments, right? However, when I was at Airtel before, I didn't see that. It was a very, very different requirement and environment that would be there. So you need to also then see, is it the MNCs I'm thinking about, right? Is it startups that I'm thinking about? At which stage of my career am I at? Is salary the highest point of contention for me? Or no, it's, it's okay, I'm okay being at the same salary right now for the next 2 years, but I'll shift, from, say, maybe being in the finance team to becoming a finance PM, right? Fintech and edtech are big right now, right? If you're from the health industry with a health background or a medical background, it's a fabulous time to get into health tech in India, right? Because it's really opening up now in terms of the regulations, etc., right? These are all calls that individually everybody here would need to kind of understand and take. Yeah. Neither me nor anybody else could give you a one-size-fits-all solution for this. Yeah. So I've kind of spoken or rambled on for about 10 minutes. I'd love to take a pause here. And I'm sure that, a lot of you who joined with some agenda or some questions in mind. I'd love to spend more time on that. Does that work for everybody? Just a hands up for people
Yeah.
who are on.
Yes.
I just heard one yes. Everybody else?
Yes.
Guys?
Because I had a question.
Guys, please put your videos on, and nobody has taken the responsibility to drop the messages, man. 1 sec, I'll only put it. Hold on. Hey, can I not message everybody, Rakhi?
Yeah, Mohit, I'm just adding it on. Oh, sorry.
Amar.
Hi, Amar. Yeah, I'm actually on call also. I'll just add on.
Yeah. Do put your videos on, guys.
Amar, can I ask you a question?
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, so Amar, so it was a very interesting point when you mentioned that a lot of companies is only looking for somebody from a technical background, which holds true for the last two organizations that I've worked for, because I've been trying to move into the product teams over there as well, and that's the first pushback that I've heard from them, that you are not from the there are two pushbacks actually. One was definitely that you're not from CSIT background. B is that probably they mostly hire from the IIMs or the IITs. So these are the two pushbacks that I've heard mostly. And so my question to you, Amar, was is that how do I know where in which companies these sort of pushbacks are usually there and which companies it's not? Because for me it'll be very easy, because I'll definitely focus my attention towards those companies when I want to transition.
Fair point. Can I guys, can you maybe put a thumbs up or a hands up if it's similar situation, similar for you? Because I'd love to kind of get a sense out of the 30 people who are here right now. Is that the case just for 2 people? 3 people? Slow. Okay, fair. So more and more people are kind of putting it in now. Cool. Okay, so I was pretty much Navarun in the same place, the situation you're talking about let me say 6 months ago, right? And this was even after. So before Airtel, I had a stint as head of product with, it was a joint initiative or joint venture between Tata Trust and Google, and I was heading product there. It was a not-for-profit organization, but essentially the world's largest global digital literacy program is what we were running, and huge number of massive design efforts. I worked with the Google Launchpad Accelerator team. I worked with, a huge number of people from Google to Tata Trust to the government to everybody, right? And one would think that after heading that kind of product, these questions may not come forward for me. Interestingly, that was not the case, right? And during that stint of 3 odd years that I was doing that work, I spent a lot of time with engineering compared to maybe previous times where I did a lot of more product and UX and research, and customer side work, right? PRDs, BRDs, etc., all of that. But working with engineers, this was probably the 3-year stint where I did a lot of deep work, including with data scientists on ML, etc. However, I then joined Airtel. I joined Airtel as a business product manager, right? Which again was focused as a product person who was working as an IC role with business and product leaders. So I was deciding with the product leaders what to work on, basis business side. So I was still not working with engineers. And when it came to me saying, okay, during Airtel, I kind of said, I want to go back to the startup world because that's where I've been for 10 odd years. This became a blocker. Interestingly, it was not a blocker for me literally in a period of 1 year before. When I was leaving the NGO and moving to and interviewing, I got like 5 offers from very hard engineering companies to soft engineering roles to whatever, right? In 1 year, it transformed, okay? So I also came across the same wall. What helped me was, along with the PL team, to really take a step back and kind of ask myself that where I'm applying, can I find a better way to filter? That's fundamentally it. Yeah. Because the more you apply to such organizations and you keep hearing this, the more demotivated you'll get. And that's normal, right? It doesn't matter whether you're sitting on 40 years experience, rejection affects anybody. Let's be honest. Yeah. So when I say filter, you need to run it through a few different filters, and PL, Pragmatic Leaders, has created actually a pretty powerful concept and framework around this, right? And they do it pretty well. So what couple of the points there is you can find out by spending a little time first, looking at the JDs that they're posting online, right? Very often, pretty explicitly, they will write in a JD, whether it be on LinkedIn or IIM Jobs or Naukri or wherever, that IIT, BITS Pilani, IIM, etc. needed. Yeah, so that's immediately a cross off if that's your filter. Then there will be some either a direct statement saying that we are looking for an engineering or a BTech or a BSc, a BSc IT, etc. If they're not saying that explicitly, they may, in a particular paragraph, say one of the responsibilities is deep work with engineering teams, and you need 3 years plus experience having done that. So this is one way to kind of filter. Another way to filter is also get in touch with PMs. So look at the PM profiles of people who are at that company, right? Let's take Monster Inc., right? For example, you know who you get onto LinkedIn, Monster Inc. employees, look for the PMs. Look at their profiles. If a majority of them are people with tech backgrounds, then you know that's what they're looking for, right? So they may then Monster Inc. may not be in your B list, it may be in your C list. I mean, you can depend how you want to prioritize your lists. That's one way. Another way is just ping PMs on LinkedIn, say that, hey, I'm thinking of maybe applying. Could I connect with you? Right? You could do it on LinkedIn. There are product management job groups out there. There's Slack channels. There's all kinds of stuff, right? So these are a couple of ways that you can filter. Before all of that, though, somewhere you need to understand what kind of PM is it that you are, or you are aspiring and working towards to be, right? So are you aspiring to become a technical PM, or are you more of a technical PM today? Are you more on the product marketing side? Are you more on the product strategy side? Are you more on the product design side, right? There are different kinds of PMs. That's what's very important to understand. Does that answer the question for most of y'all? If you have a follow-up or any kind of further clarification, please go ahead.
Amar, first of all, apologies. I have my video off. Otherwise, your video is buffering a lot for me. Sorry for that. So my question is a bit on what you called it earlier with regards to the companies we need to be selective of. So any more details can you share on how we can do that? So and so I joined a bit late also. So just to give a quick intro, I have more experience into business operations. I do have a little experience in product, as a product owner, and a lot of experience into problem solving also. So while I understand I would probably fit into enterprises, then startups, and also B2B kind of a setup. I hope you're able to hear me.
Apologies, I think there was some issue with my network.
Oh, okay. Sorry, fine. I'll no issues. So I was just calling out to say, is there any way to kind of filter out companies where my skill set might fit? So while I might know what my skill sets are, is there any way to find out what companies would be a good fit for me?
So I kind of just gave you a sense, right? Maybe you were not able to, maybe the connection didn't get through. So that's what I was explaining to Navarun's question, right? One way is essentially you look at the JDs that different companies say. You may Sujendra, have a list of these are the top 20 companies I want to apply to. That might be your own internal list, right? Your dream list, so to say. Now, whether you should apply to all 20, does it make sense? You can do simple things. Check the JDs that they put out there, right? Very often, and I'll give you an example. This was actually one of the previous mentors in PL who I had spoken to before I did the course, and I had a chat with him. He's with Microsoft. He said that even PM roles at Microsoft, you need to look at all the different JDs. With Google as well, you need to look at all the different JDs because each PM role may be a different need and requirement in the same organization. So one is look at JDs of those organizations. Second is look on LinkedIn, the profiles of the people who are already PMs in those organizations. See if there is a similarity of skill sets. See if there's similarity of backgrounds, right? The other thing you can do if you want to create like some kind of wish list and stuff, there's Angel List, there is a few other websites, etc., where you could go and maybe shortlist as per. I mean, I've used Crunchbase in the past and Angel List, where I've shortlisted according to domain, because your skill set may be a domain expertise, right? So it's not a one size fits all. You need to do this R&D work on your end, but these are a few of the structural the structural points that you could probably follow.
Sure, that helps. Yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
Amar,
I have
Good evening, Amar. I have a question.
So I think Gaurav was asking and Abhishek was asking. Can we go with Abhishek quickly? Gaurav, I'll come back to you.
Sure.
So Amar, I was having this question. Like, you have worked for different domains now. You have worked for EdTech, FinTech, and now you're working at OYO, which is heavily operations. So, what do you feel about the domains? How how important is it, or what are the challenges at different domains, and what are the problems that you might face if you are not really into that domain? Or I think you got the question.
Okay. Yeah, I did. So it's a fair question, Abhishek. And I'll give you a similar answer to the question from before, right? But I'll fine tune it. And why am I saying similar? Because it is a similar pain point for a lot of us who are transitioning, right? Now, does domain expertise help? Most definitely. I have been domain agnostic, as you said. So I've had maybe a little tougher time, right? During certain interviews. However, it still comes down to what organization am I applying to, right? Which organization and what their requirements are. So OYO did not need me to have domain expertise. When I took up the work with Google and Tata Trust, they did not need me to have domain expertise. What both of them fundamentally looked at is first principle thinking, user-centric thinking, problem solving, product strategy, product design, fundamentally. And then, of course, whatever technical skill sets that you talk about, right? But problem solving is a very, very key thing for a lot of these organizations. Now, before I joined OYO, I interviewed with actually a bunch of HR tech companies. Yeah. And they came back to me basically saying that because you don't have the domain expertise and because you are at a more senior level and therefore the salary bracket, etc., we would prefer to probably just go down the route of somebody with that domain expertise, right? Similarly, because I've been in B2C majority of my career, B2B companies had similar feedback to me. Now, OYO is sort of a organization which has both sides to it, right? You very rightly mentioned that heavily operational. However, post-COVID, they have started becoming a lot more product and tech focused and less heavy on the operations. As they are doing the product and tech, growth, they are looking at both the B2C and B2B, the patron side, meaning the hotel owner side, right? So maybe look at organizations that are looking at supply and demand as both sides, if that's the situation. So it again comes back to what is it Abhishek, that you are trying to sort out for yourself or achieve? Like, I know friends of mine who have been in, call it logistic tech or delivery tech or whatever word you want to give to it, uh, pretty much their entire careers. And that's where they want to be, right? I know people who have been in ed tech for about, say, 3-4 years and then switched to fintech. And some of them are happy, some of them are thinking of going back. So it may depend on what is it that you are passionate about, or what is it that challenges you and excites you every day, right? For me, why I have been personally domain agnostic is because for me, the passion is focused purely on customer problems, on user problems. I don't care who or for what the problem is, in terms of is it which domain. Does that answer, Abhishek?
Yes, it does.
Cool. Gaurav, you had a question.
Thanks, Amar. Very good evening.
Good evening.
So, Amar, I also worked in Airtel, as most of my experience is into telecom only. So now my question relates to that, that when I am, when anybody interviewed me, so I have a 13 years of experience in telco in B2C, UNR, usage revenue retention profile. We used to do all of these type of works which are happening in new age startups. But last 13 years, we don't have any experience in app and web ecosystem. So this new age startup, which are just 3-year, 4-year, 5-year old, they are difficult to उनको समझ में आता नहीं है कि ये कैसे करते थे सब all these things, और मैं समझा नहीं पता sort of things. So this problem I am facing, that I hope you can understand this.
I understand, and I'm going to try sort of responding to what you're saying and tell me if I'm on the right track, right? आपका problem ना यहाँ पर, Gaurav, is a different problem. Your problem is more about the narrative and positioning of Gaurav Gupta rather than who you're applying to. Okay? Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, like you said, आप समझा नहीं पा रहे हो, वो समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं, वो आपने क्या काम किया है, etc., etc. तो यहाँ पर you need to do a few very, very fundamental things. And if you are doing the course with the PL team, of course, they'll help out a lot more. But considering our time right now, I'll try and keep it very specific to a couple of things. Number one, don't do a one size fits all or a one company fits all resume, which you send everywhere. Does not work. Okay. You need to have one generic resume, right? When I say generic, meaning sort of all your points, which you fine tune depending on where you're applying. Okay. Now, fine tune is not just what you have achieved. Fine tune is also the language you are using. Yeah. It's very, very important to think about, because the resume is what your face is before anything else. And the resume is on which a lot of companies out there, majority of them, not all, Oyo didn't even ask me anything from my resume. It was more about problem solving statements during my interviews. But a lot of companies in the past have gone down my resume. Aapka experience humko bataiye. Now, how you word it in the context of where you are applying and the work that that company is doing is very important. Yeah. And your LinkedIn profile, because you can't modify LinkedIn profile for every application, it needs to have a clean, easy, consumable, and key point view, and language in a way that anybody seeing from any industry is able to pick up a few key points.
Okay.
Right. And then comes the next part. You've gone through interview, fix ho gaya hai, you're sitting on the interview. If you are changing industries and you are then trying to explain the technicalities of a different domain to another domain company, you may not be successful unless that person has that experience or that knowledge or that whatever, right? So you need to pick certain points when you are telling them about your experience as to how it applies to them, right? So I'll give you an example. Customer experience as a bucket or as a function may seem generic to the entire world. It's not, right? There may be similar terms used across domains, right? But the work or what you're trying to build or the CRM you are trying to do changes, right? The CRM that I designed for a Grofers versus a Dine Out versus XYZ or a couple of startups that I've consulted with, or the CX strategy has been very different, right? So you need to think about, and maybe a couple of articles you can get onto Medium, for example, about thinking of Gaurav Gupta as a brand positioning, right? Gaurav Gupta as a brand positioning cannot, I mean, that brand, not everybody will buy. Sorry, I'm going to take a very, very random example, but not everybody likes a Bacardi Breezer, right? Of a particular flavor. Somebody might like one flavor, somebody might a different one, right? Bira has multiple ranges. They're coming out with more new ranges. I'm using the alcohol example, but it applies to pretty much anything. Yeah. Does that help?
Yes, yes.
Cool.
Thanks, Amar.
Most welcome. Next question. Hands, please.
Yeah, may
Hey, hi, Gaurav. Sorry, hi, Amar.
Cool. So I have two again quickly. I have Rams. I had, I think, Santoshi. I think she's dropped off. Rams, go ahead.
Okay.
And we have about 13 minutes, so please don't mind, but I'm going to try and keep my answers a little crisper than I have.
Yeah, okay. So thing is, basically, I'm having a experience around 15 years of a SAP background.
Sure.
Around 10, 12 years of a project manager. I know everything in and out of the project management. We start from the whatever planning, controlling, and execution, planning, controlling, finally closing process as well. So now, related to this, so based on this, my experience skill set, how would I approach to the company? And how do I know I'm the right person to that particular position? And how would I do it?
Fair question. Ram, I can probably give you a couple of examples from my past experience. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, just give me one sec. Rakhi, am I supposed to put my own rating as well?
No,
or should I just ignore?
Yeah, please. We have kept it open for the learners.
Sure, I'll close mine. Okay. Yeah. So Ram, just getting back to you.
Yeah.
So a lot of larger companies looked at me as a project/program manager because of my work experience. No, it's not similar at all. Very, very different, right? But I was also sort of buttoned into the same kind of block. Yeah. So what I realized is maybe I need to look at organizations where either they are looking for people with deep program management and technical understanding, if you have that, who are then transforming into PMs. If you don't have the technical aspect, but you have a lot of heavy project management aspect, then maybe you need to look at joining a company where they have roles such as business product managers, who basically work in a cross-functional role as IC roles and then migrate into product. But that will depend on, the kind of salary bracket you're at, experience you're at, etc., etc. So these are two ways that I've given. Another way, right, could be that with your experience that you have, you look at companies which are looking for people with deep experience as SAP implementation companies, right? Like Salesforce implementation companies, they are SAP implementation companies. And if they would be maybe interested to have you on board as a product person because you have a lot of deep experience.
Got it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Most welcome. Nakul? And
Yes, sir.
Santoshi, after that, Santoshi, I think you had raised your hand. Yeah, so Nakul, go ahead.
Okay. Sir, I would like to ask sir, I just have 2 years of experience as a service engineer in printing industry. So when I looked at the job profiles for product managers and APM, the minimum experience they ask for 3 years. And I just 3 years as an APM. They require.
So, sorry, which industry are you from, Nakul?
Sir, I'm from printing industry.
And what was the work you were doing?
Service engineer.
You were a service engineer. Can you just double click like a 2-line description of the role?
Installation and servicing of digital inkjet machines.
Okay.
Industrial based.
Understood. Okay.
Yes.
So the route for you maybe, Nakul, is, and you're relatively young, right? You have 2 years experience.
Right, sir.
Right. So there are a lot of APM fellowships that have begun. Okay. Now, what are these? APM fellowships are basically with organizations, and it could be an APM fellowship, it could be a PM training program like PL has, etc., where you learn a lot about product management from scratch, right? And essentially, you're talking about maybe not having to transfer any skills. You're starting as a fresher. Yeah. I don't know what your CTC is. I don't want to ask in an open forum, but it may be similar to an APM level in a larger startup. Yeah. And APM is a starting position in a startup, right? In the product division. In that, what a fellowship, for example, does, or PL with their training and then with the placement cell and assistance on jobs or whatever that exists, it is it's more helpful to go down that kind of route. APM fellowship is basically where you get trained, you're doing case studies, and then you have a chance to maybe get employed with the organization you do the case study on.
Sure.
Yeah, so I would probably suggest that kind of route for you with your background. But then again, I'm just giving you my personal opinion. Maybe, the PL team, the placement team would be probably some of the best people to guide you on this.
Sure.
Yeah. Santoshi, your question has actually been pinged to me, so I'll read it out and then tell me if that's it. Having HR and financial admin background, what percentage of chance do I have to start my career as a PM? You absolutely do. There's no percentage here. You have a chance. You have a good chance. Yeah. What is your degree in, Santoshi?
Yeah, actually, I have done, I'm from CA background, chartered accountancy, but then I couldn't clear it in time, so I left it, and then I prepared for civil services, and then actually my degree is become computers that I have done simultaneously while preparing for CA.
So then there should not be a problem. My sense is probably a good amount of fintech companies may be looking for people like you. Rakhi, what's your sense?
Sorry, Amar, I just missed out.
That's okay. Santoshi
Yeah,
will connect with you offline.
yeah,
Santoshi, definitely
yeah,
ping
yeah.
Lucky. Yeah.
All right,
So
Santoshi, I'll connect with you.
yeah. So Santoshi, my sense, and why am I saying this? I actually know of, and I was chatting with a few friends of mine a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about how the fintech industry is evolving now to a point where they're looking for people with finance experience, right? Because it can get a very heavy domain expertise background requirements, right? Depending on the role and depending on the company. So it's something you can maybe explore.
I'm into business operations as well.
If you are into multiple things, business ops, finance, HR, uh, BSc, etc., then again, you will come across a similar kind of problem statement that I was explaining to Gaurav about how are you positioning who Santoshi is. Yeah. So that is something then first you need to understand. What is it that you want to maybe double dip on? Yeah.
So among these three, coming from financial admin background, is that good?
Yeah, it is good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, there's Syed, there's Nandini with their hands up. Did I miss out anybody else before that who was about to speak? Nope. Okay, cool. Yes.
Yeah,
Syed,
Amar, I had a question. I
yeah.
raised my hand earlier.
Okay. Yeah, Santosh, go ahead. Syed, I'll come to you after that, and then Nandini, and then we will wrap up because I think there are 3 minutes left and Raki's pinging me. But yeah, please.
Yeah, hi. So what I wanted to know is, I've been looking at a lot of JDs and the requirements that these portals have. And I have around 10 years of work experience, and it's got nothing to, I have not worked on product per se. I've worked on a lot of projects, and I've also worked on certain products, but not in a PM role. And the requirements that I see these days, they specifically have, like, let's say a 1 year experience into product or 2 years experience into product. So how do I, I've been applying to them, but I haven't really heard back from anyone, but it's not been a really long duration. So I'm still waiting for people to come back. But do I still qualify? Does that 2 year thing, because nothing in my profile will justify that 2 year product experience that they ask.
So it depends on how you position it, Santosh, right? It is a valid point that you are raising. Raki, would it be okay if we continue till at least whose ever hands were up till now, we finish?
Yeah, Amar, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What I'm saying, Santosh, valid point that you're raising. And it is something that I have faced quite a bit also in the past, right? Where my designation may not have been of a PM, but the work that I did was essentially product. Yeah. A product / project / whatever, right? It comes down to how you are wanting to explain it, in your resume that you're sending across or the cover letter, right? How you state it and call it out aloud. Yeah, number one. Number two, what I was, earlier explaining to Navarun's question, you really need to think through who you're applying to. If you are automatically going with that, if they're writing 1 to 3 years or 4 years, 5 years, previous product experience, 3 to 5 years, you should not be applying if you feel that you can't prove that at all. The 1 to 3 years, see how you can put it across. Alternatively, relook at the companies that you're applying to, because not everybody asks for that, right? Some people say if you have a sense of product, first principle thinking, product design or product strategy, or maybe working with users, user behavior side, or maybe you are an engineer and you have that experience, maybe you build something. These are different ways. Alternatively, something that I've, some friends and colleagues of mine have advised me in the past, and I have been guilty of not doing, and I really should be doing, is creating your portfolio. What do I mean? Do you have a website? Are you blogging? Are you commenting on other blogs? Are you engaging? Do you have a Medium channel running? Are you posting on LinkedIn? Are you maybe on LinkedIn putting case studies of examples of how you've, because I knew somebody who for 2 years didn't have a job through COVID because of COVID, right? And he had a fantastic job in UX, UI before that. But nobody was giving him a job irrelevant. So what he did was he just took multiple apps out there and redesigned them as case studies and put that out as a portfolio. So if people are doubting your skill set on something because you don't have the experience behind it, put out content out there which proves it otherwise. In my discussions with Talvinder, for example, I think Talvinder mentioned, and in fact, one of the mentors of my cohort, he's with Booking, he mentioned as well, about so many cases where people have been offered jobs simply on content they have put out there. They've done a case study so well on a particular app. Somebody saw it, said that, dude, I don't need to see your resume. I am interviewing you basis this case study. Yeah. So think on these lines.
Thanks, Amar.
Syed?
Yeah, hi. So I'm a technical writer and I have around 8 years of experience, and I work in multiple products, and I'm basically from finance background. So my thing is that I understand that finance will be booming, and I want to be in finance, fintech domain. Now there are different kind of product managers, and as a technical writer, I worked on created PRD, user case, and all those things I have done. So how do I understand that what kind of product manager I want to be? Because now I'm just know that theory part that product manager does this thing. How I will know that I will enjoy that part or not? Because it took me 5 years to understand that which part of technical writing I want to be. But I don't want to waste that much of time in understanding what kind of a product manager I want to be. So how do I narrow it down?
Syed, 2 quick questions for you before I try to maybe respond right now. Do you do a lot of reading of product management books?
Yes, I do that.
Yeah. So before I go to my second question, what is it that you have understood about different kinds of roles in product management so far from the reading that you've done?
Okay, so from the reading experience and from what I understand from my industry also, so we have different kind of product manager. One who is doing the strategy with the marketing team that how the product will be launching. The second who is concerned about the UX and how the product will behave and everything, the requirement part. The third, the person who is coordinating with the technical team and the marketing team. That this is how different products I worked on. So these are 3 types of product manager that I understand. That these are some strategic where we need to launch. Like one of the product we are not having good customer in US, so we launched in Europe and we got good customers in Poland. So I understand those things.
Okay. Second question is, are you currently part of any cohort with Pragmatic?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes, I am. I'm a part of cohort.
So what kind of PM you're going to become? There is a beautiful module that is part of the PL course, which you will be coming up to, I would assume towards little more towards the end of your course, which will completely help you with this, right?
Okay.
So it would, I find that probably one of the best frameworks I've come across, which Talvinder has spent a lot of time building. Yeah, so that would help you a lot. But just to go back to your first question, similarly like you, I had a lot of misconceptions about what kinds of PM roles exist, right? Even with 10 years experience, 12 years experience, right? it has literally been in the last 1 year where I've fine-tuned this. And where you are and what you were saying right now, there is still a lot of mismatch. Somewhere in the right direction, but somewhere in a very different direction. Yeah. So wait for that module, and that should really help you. Yeah. And does that work, Said? Yeah. And last question of the day, Nandini. Nandini, hi, are you there?
Hi, Amar.
Yeah.
So I would like to thank you for such an enlightening session. Hello?
Rakhi?
Yeah, hi, Amar.
Hi, are you speaking? Is Nandini speaking? Sorry.
No, it is Nandini.
Okay. Hey, Nandini, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, so my question was that I am a Java developer, and before this, I was working as a support engineer, Java support engineer only. And I have worked with the banking project, and now I am working in a payments domain. So it is basically finance and banking. And further, I'll be targeting similar firms. And as I come from a technical background, I will be targeting technical PM only. For now, maybe I will be able to transition after getting more insights. Yeah, but the thing is, can we without any experience target PM roles as well, because we don't know what kind of work exactly a PM does. I have got the knowledge of an APM, that he or she assists the PM and help them with whatever needs to be achieved with the PRDs and getting the insights of the project. But can we apply for such roles as well for the product manager directly?
So Nandini, I'm going to answer your question, but with the caveat, I don't have enough understanding of how you are positioned in terms of the kind of work you've done in the finance and banking side. Yeah. The short answer is probably it would be better to go down the TPM route, because that will allow you time to be able to, while working on the more technical side, start understanding and practicing. Understanding, if you're doing like in the course with Pragmatic Leaders, for example, you'll understand. But starting to put it into practice in a real organization, proper product principle, first principle thinking, product design thinking, product, architecture thinking, etc., may not come so quickly. So maybe a TPM as a first step, giving you time to understand the pure side of a PM, uh, maybe a slightly better, more cleaner, more easier route, does not mean that applying for APM or PM roles directly would be a no. It does not mean that. Sorry, meaning yes, you can apply to APM PM roles, absolutely. However, when you do apply to APM PM roles, look at the kind of work or the JD or the roles and responsibilities of that PM in that organization. It would be beneficial to you, my suggestion, that it be a little bit more with organizations where PMs are more tech focused, with a little bit of the PM side of things, and then slowly evolve.